Are you feeling like no matter how smart you are, your bank account just isn't showing it? It turns out that financial success isn't so much about intelligence as it is about money habits. But don't worry, it's easier than you think to understand and change those habits. In this video, I'll show you 18 key lessons from Morgan Housel's book on money psychology. Plus, you'll learn how to avoid common mistakes and measure your financial success. Make sure to subscribe to not miss new video. Let's get started. Chapter 1 of the book, The Psychology of Money, argues that no one is crazy. Money is one of the world's most powerful forces, and its influence on our lives cannot be denied. The author argues that people have different ideas and experiences about money, and that those differences do not mean that a person is a fool. This means that each person has a different way of looking at money and how they view it. On the other hand, we are all aware that books can give us a lot of information about money, but they don't tell us everything. This is because there is a big difference between reading about it and doing it. To really understand it, you need to actually do it. For example, imagine that you are a lottery winner and have been spending money irrationally for years. You think that money will bring you happiness, security, and respect. You've spent a lot of money on fancy cars, clothes, and vacations, and you've given money to friends, family, and charities. You think you're living the dream, but then something unexpected happens. You lose a lot of money in an investment, lawsuit, or divorce. The IRS gets in touch. Your family turns against you or even leaves you. You realize you don't have any savings, any skills, or any sense of purpose. You don't know what to say or how to explain this outcome. If you're like most people, you might feel depressed, hopeless, and ashamed. You might think the world is unfair, the people are ungrateful, or yourself stupid. You might start to spiral into addiction or think of things that could ruin your life. Or you might start over and rebuild your life from the ground up. But what if there's another way to think about it? What if you could accept that your way of looking at money isn't so crazy? It's important to recognize that other people have different perspectives and beliefs that can affect how they view money. It's important to respect their decisions, even if you don't agree with them. This can help us be more open-minded, empathetic, and humble about money, and help us avoid making costly mistakes like spending more than we earn or being too confident. We can learn from other people's experiences and use them to improve our own. It's not about what happens to us. It's about how we handle it. Stay positive, let go of any bad feelings, and take care of what needs to be done. With a positive attitude, success will follow. Next chapter looks at the psychology of money and how confounding and compounding can be a powerful tool to help you make the most of your money. Compounding is the process of getting interest on your money over time, and it's easy to see how small investments over time can lead to big rewards. It uses Warren Buffett as an example of how investing over a long period of time can yield amazing results. Buffett is one of the richest people on the planet because he started investing at a young age and never stopped. People don't know that most of his fortune was made after he was 50, which means he lived a long time and had more time to invest. He was smart about picking the right companies to invest in, but he also knew compounding was his best tool. He once said, "His life is like a snowball. The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets." This goes to show that patience and perseverance are the keys to financial success. You should never underestimate the power of small acts over time. Whether compounding positively or negatively can work for us or against us, it depends on how we apply it. For example, saving for retirement is a great way to build wealth over time. If you save a small amount each month from your early 20s and invest in diversified portfolios, compounding interest can help you grow your wealth. However, if you don't save or spend more than you earn, compounding debt can make it harder to pay off. Next, come getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. The author argues that people tend to focus too much on building wealth and neglect the challenge of maintaining it, which he says requires a combination of prudence and paranoia. He also argues that getting rich requires taking risks and optimism, while staying rich requires being cautious and pessimistic. Have you ever heard of a person who won the lottery but then went bankrupt, or inherited a fortune and squandered it, or made a fortune in business but lost it all in an ill-advised venture? These are examples of people who got rich but didn't stay rich because they didn't know what to do with their money or how to protect it from misfortunes or bad choices. They thought that more money meant more happiness, but they were wrong. On the other hand, there are many examples of individuals who have managed to remain wealthy. These individuals have saved and invested money wisely and have been able to live comfortably for a long period of time. Additionally, they have created a successful business and have shared their profits with their employees and customers. Furthermore, they have donated their funds to charitable causes and have made a positive contribution to the world. These individuals have a different set of skills than those who remain wealthy. In other words, while getting wealthy requires taking chances and being hopeful, staying wealthy requires being cautious and careful. It is important to be aware of both qualities to succeed financially, but it is also important to know when to use them. Therefore, it is essential to avoid spending money on items that do not make one happy, but only make one look happy. Tails, you win. The next lesson in money from the psychology of money is tails, you win. In this chapter, Housel defines a story as a very rare occurrence. He emphasizes the importance of luck and chance in finance. Have you ever heard of a person who made millions of dollars by doing something no one else thought possible or profitable? For example, Walt Disney created a global entertainment empire from his cartoons and amusement parks. This is an example of someone who benefited from tails. This was a very unusual and unanticipated event that had a big impact on his financial success. These events are not common or predictable, but can change everything in a split second. To help you understand how tails work in finance, it is important to understand that financial outcomes are not fair or balanced, but rather follow a rule of thumb, where a few things make up most of the difference. You don't need to always be right to make money as long as you're right on a few key points. But it's important to be honest and open-minded and not think you know it all or that everything will always be the same. According to the book, most financial outcomes don't just happen randomly. They're determined by a power law, where a few events account for most of the outcomes. Freedom is amongst the 18 lessons on money from the book, The Psychology of Money. The author tells his story of how he had always wanted to be an investor and admired the rich and successful people who made money from the stock market. He believed that if he could follow in their footsteps, he would be content and fulfilled. He studied hard and obtained a degree in finance. He applied for a position at a well-known investment firm and was thrilled when he was hired. On his first day, he realized why investors made so much money. They worked like slaves, waking up early in the morning, analyzing endless reports and data, making split-second decisions, dealing with angry clients and bosses, working late into the night, having no time for hobbies, friends, or family, living with constant stress and pressure, sacrificing their health and well-being for money household. He felt cheated and disillusioned, as if his dreams had been traded for a nightmare, and wondered if he had made some terrible mistake. He wished he could have quit, but he had a contract and debts to pay. He decided to make the most of his situation and started reading books and blogs about finance psychology and happiness. He found out that there are lots of different ways to invest, not just in stocks, but in yourself, your skills, relationships, and your community. He started writing about his experiences and lessons on his blog and found that he liked writing more than investing. He got lots of feedback and encouragement from his readers and realized he had a gift and voice that could inspire and help people. He quit his job at an investment firm and became a freelance writer, writing articles and books about money and happiness. He became a well-known author and speaker, earning less money than before. He figured out that happiness isn't about having a lot of money. It's about using it to live a fulfilling life. He realized that investing isn't just about making money, it's also about making a positive impact on the world. He figured out that success isn't about what you accomplish, it's about who you become. Morgan Housel says the most powerful thing you can have is the power to wake up in the morning and say, I can do whatever I want with whoever I want, for however long I want. Do you agree with that? In this next chapter of the 18 Lessons on Money series, Housel explores the concept of the man in the car paradox. He argues that when people observe someone driving a luxury vehicle, they often think of themselves driving it rather than admiring the driver. He argues that those who lavish themselves with material possessions may be sacrificing long-term financial security and satisfaction in the pursuit of short-term gain. Therefore, it is important to prioritize our own goals and values when comparing ourselves to others. Tom's story illustrates this concept. He had always wanted to own a Ferrari and had saved up money to purchase one, believing that it would give him a sense of success and respect from peers and clients. However, he soon realized that the Ferrari did not provide him with the satisfaction and recognition he had hoped for, and instead of admiration, he was often ignored or resented. Tom was stressed about taking care of his expensive vehicle and paying for insurance repairs and parking fees. He was worried that someone would scratch or steal it. He also noticed that his Ferrari didn't make him happy. He drove it for a while, but soon got too used to it and forgot about it. He started looking at other cars and wondering if they were faster or better than his Ferrari. He felt dissatisfied with it and wanted to buy a newer or more expensive model. Tom realized he had made a mistake by buying a Ferrari. He had spent thousands of dollars on a car that didn't bring him any value or happiness. He wished he had used the money for something more meaningful and rewarding, such as traveling, learning new skills, or donating to charity. He sold his Ferrari and purchased a more practical and cost-effective car. He also promised to not compare himself to others and to focus on his own success and happiness. The next lesson on money from The Psychology of Money, which argues that wealth is what we don't see in our modern society, where we're bombarded with images and messages about instant gratification, social comparison, and materialism. We live in a world where we want what we want now, and some people will pay whatever it takes to get it. We're inundated with images of the Kardashians and social media influencers that we see daily. Some of us envy them and aspire to be like them. Some of us think they're successful and happy because they have so many things. But that's not the whole story. We don't understand the hard work, sacrifices, struggles, failures, risks, and costs that go into achieving success. We don't understand the stress, anxiety, depression, loneliness, and emptiness that come with it. We don't realize that some of them aren't really rich, just pretending to be. We see them trying to pretend to be content with their lives by lying about their achievements and credentials. But this isn't just a game. It's a dangerous gamble that can lead to bankruptcy, legal trouble, and even prison. People who don't take care of themselves end up with health issues, mental health issues, addiction problems, or even self-destructive behavior. They end up losing friends, family, reputation, or even their dignity. In some cases, they even come to realize that they were spending money on things that didn't make them happy, and that they weren't really living, but just surviving. So here are some questions to think about when it comes to wealth and happiness. How do you define it for yourself? What are the things you save and invest for that you need or enjoy? How do you resist the urge to buy things you can't afford? How do you not compare yourself to others who may seem wealthy, but are actually poor? How do you balance your current needs and wants with future goals and dreams? And how do you use the money you have to buy things and options instead of things and status? The next topic on the 18th lesson of The Psychology of Money is save money. This chapter focuses on the importance of saving money as the key to building wealth and happiness. Have you ever thought about how much money to save and how much you should save? You might think it depends on your income, investments, or spending. But the author argues that there is more to it than that. Saving money is more important than any of these because saving money is sure and secure, whereas making money, investing money, and spending money are uncertain and risky. Saving money is not just about numbers, it is about attitudes, emotions, and more. Saving money is easier for those who are more humble and confident, and harder for those who are proud and unsure. Saving money isn't about denying yourself happiness. It's about choosing what brings you joy. For example, let's say your friend loves to shop and spends a lot of money every month on clothes, shoes, accessories, and gadgets. She thinks shopping makes her feel good and that she should reward herself for her hard work. She doesn't save enough money because she doesn't think she needs to or can afford it. She's trying to make money by spending it and being proud of it. Imagine if you had a friend who loves to budget. They keep track of their income and expenses and only buy what they need and sometimes want. They think budgeting makes them feel good, and they respect themselves for being responsible. They save a lot because they think they need to and that they can afford it. They're trying to save money and be humble. The author says that building wealth isn't about how much you make or how much you invest. It's about how much you save. The next chapter in the psychology of money is Say You and Me. It focuses on how we compare ourselves to those who have money. This is a natural and healthy way to compare ourselves, but it can also lead to feelings of envy and false hope. This is because we use relative indicators of wealth and success, such as income, net worth, and status, as opposed to absolute indicators, such as health, freedom, and relationships. The problem with comparing ourselves to others is that we tend to focus on what they have or do, rather than what we have. This chapter encourages us to rethink how we define success and happiness, and reminds us that money is not always the only or best indicator of our well-being. It also encourages us to be aware of our own bias and emotions when evaluating ourselves and others, and to be more thankful and respectful of what we have and what others have. Let's take Jim Carrey, the famous actor and comedian, as an example. He was brought up in poverty and worked hard to become a stand-up comedian. He became a star after starring in Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, and made millions of dollars. But he also faced some tough personal issues like depression, divorce, and his ex-girlfriend's death. He realized that money and fame weren't enough to make him happy, so he started exploring spirituality and art to express himself and find meaning in life. He seems to be following the advice in this chapter by challenging his own ideas of success and happiness and looking for what matters to him instead of what others like or admire. By the way, if you're interested in the book, The Psychology of Money, use my link in the description section to sign up for a free 30-day trial to listen to this audiobook or another audiobook of your choice. The Psychology of Money is explored in Morgan Housel's book, which shows how our emotions can shape our financial decisions and outcomes. It challenges us to think beyond the common sense and logic that often guide us in investing decisions, and to recognize that money is not just about numbers, but also reflects our own psychology and personality. This book can help you become more conscious of the mental traps you may be in and how to get out of them. In it, 18 lessons are shared that explain why money psychology is so much more important than maths in finance, and how we think about and act with money can have a big impact on our money and our happiness with it. However, the best way to learn about money is through the stories and experiences of others who have gone through similar financial situations as you and their successes and failures. Time is the key to financial success. Money can give you the freedom to focus on what matters most. The more you have control over your time, the better off you'll be. I talked about how saving money and cutting back on spending is the best way to reach financial independence. I also talked about how saving is like the difference between your ego and your income, and spending is like the gap between your income and your dreams. The more you save, the less you need to work. Humility and flexibility are key to avoiding financial mistakes. We can't always predict the future, but we can be flexible enough to change our minds when something changes, or we make a mistake. Share this video with anyone you think might be able to help. Thanks for watching. See you next time.